you, buddy? Good to see you. How's everything?
My issue is going to be the width of the frame. So are you going to concentrate on certain areas?
We're just going to talk about everything. Guard, you got to go faster than that!
There you go. You can step over.
Okay, drum majors, we can do that from the podiums. Just in the future, okay? So come on up to the podiums. And James, just go ahead and start when you're ready, and Alex will do the turnaround, okay? So your hands are not up. All right, very nice job, guys. Okay, I want you to relax. I want you to go by sections where you usually warm up. Put your coats down, put your hat on your coat, lay it down neatly, put your gauntlets there, gloves there, get some water, and then I'll tell you where to go from there.
Guys, elongate your bodies if you would. As you're at attention, think of a horrible visual, but think there's a
enclosed eye hooks drilled in the top of your head. Sorry about that. And there's it's invisible though, and there's a string attached to it way up in the air, and it's pulling you up. Stand now on the front part of your feet. I like to call it the platform. No one giggles when we say that. Stand on the front third of your foot, called the platform. Okay, then just go back down up with your heels, gently touch it. You'll stand taller if your weight is slightly forward rather than leaning back.
Next to the desk. Behind the desk. Got it. Do what I can. I'm in boots, so.
Is that not working?
I'm getting a megaphone.
Stand easy, please. Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Schaefer and this Mr. Hughes down here. We're glad to be here with you. All right, a couple of things. It's real important that we aim our horns in the same direction. You've heard this before, I know. We've got to make sure that if the position is straightforward, your shoulders are square to the front sideline, no matter which way your body is going. Bell front brass instruments, you are the easiest ones for me to see, because sometimes these instruments are tipped in this way. You don't face the drum majors. You got to be facing straight up and down the yard lines, and that will clean up a lot of the visual look right off the bat. And nowhere is that more apparent than when you're drifting those columns down the field. Can we reset those and just do that, please? You know where I'm talking about? I don't have your drill book. I don't know the numbers. Right. We're taking those columns and bringing them right down the field. And can we just do that to drum taps or something? Hey guard, if I don't say anything to you a whole lot, that's a good thing. Your costumes are great, your equipment is gorgeous. Absolutely marvelous. I love it, I love it, I love it. You do a great job and you add a lot. Huh? I know, I've seen it before once or twice. All right. Now, put your feet, when you hit this form, put your feet where they go. Now, put your instruments up in playing position. Okay? And if there's a way we can take one step and freeze and together so that we can check these horn angles. I don't know what your commands are here, but whatever that is, if you could do that, that would be great. I don't know if we do that with drums or with voice commands, Ms. Ryan. I want them to take one step in tempo and freeze. Okay, reset, do that again. Okay, now, keep your foot out there, keep your foot out there if you would. Okay, now, this is where your horns, and I'm starting to see them now already. You've got a mellophone in the second row here on the 40. I'm not picking on anybody, I'm just trying to make you better, okay? Make sure that everyone is facing straight down the yard line. You've got to maintain this upper body position. Flutes, hold them level. Lightest instrument out here, the hardest thing to hold the same way. I understand, but you got to do it anyway. Okay. Can we march this sequence, please? Just to taps. Reset. We got to make sure we're all going at the same time. Had a clarinet player miss the step off by a lot. All right, let's do it again. Here we go. Well, okay. Yeah, make sure that everybody's behind somebody. Put your nose in the spine of the person in front of you. Not literally, but alignment-wise for sure. Okay? Okay, now what do we hit the yard lines on as we're coming here? The left, I heard left and I heard right. Which is it? Okay, good. Go back and hit on the right foot, please. Okay. Now, guys, look up here on the tower, please. If you will push the leading shoulder and pull the trailing shoulder back, that'll keep your upper body square. It's imperative that these instruments are straight up and down the yard lines here. Do that again, please. 1, 2, 3, hit. 3, hit. Hit. Hit, stop. Okay, good. All right, that's better. We did a better job. Can we play that sequence? Okay. Mr. Hughes, you're next. Okay, if you can play and stop on the same place you just did, that would be awesome. That looked better that time, guys. And now it's going to be tougher when you're going to play, but you've got to make that still the same. Straight up and down. This is the hardest thing for you to do as a judge who may or may not be there next week. It's the easiest thing for me to see. And read between the lines. All right, here we go. Just play that sequence, please. Play your marching. And stop. Okay, it took us about 8 counts to get the tempo from being wonky. Let's do that again and get it started. Drum majors, sometimes when we're starting in the middle, sometimes it might be good to do a verbal count. I know you guys are awesome with the silent counts, but sometimes when we're starting in the middle, sometimes it's just easier for them to hear 1, 2, just to lock that tempo in. Okay, that might take away the wonkiness at the very beginning. Okay, do that again. Solid pulse. Now, don't let your step size get small because you're playing now.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go.
And you see how much better it started that time, drum majors? You see, I mean, they were right on it from the beginning. Good. So in the middle, that might be something to consider, if you would. At the beginning of the tunes, though, what you're doing is awesome. Okay, very good. Now, guys, that looks better. It's not great yet. It will be, but it's looking better. Can we continue on Mr. Hughes? What?
my 47th campaign. I've probably been on the football field longer than your parents have been alive. This time of year we see the same thing done the same way or not done the same way. And that's the good thing about doing these kinds of things. Now I'm not going to repeat Mr. Schaefer has already said. While he was talking, I was trying to continue to watch. The one thing we'll find ourselves doing here, even though we're supposed to hold ourselves upright and maintain that when we glide and we shift from one maneuver to the other. Once you start playing, two things happen. One, as soon as you start moving and thinking about your music, your body sits down on your waist. And it doesn't stay up where it's supposed to be. That's not universal, but it's enough to notice, especially in the uniform where you look more alike. Okay? You've got to maintain that set. And when you step off, you've got to still be up rather than sitting down on your waist. Second thing that happens, especially, you notice more in brass instruments, because they're going forward. As soon as you make the first step, the bell goes down. Now this is a combination of all of the different things you have to think of at exactly the same time. Repetition will help, of course, but not if we don't think about it each time that we do it. We can always get better at everything that we do. Everything. You have roughed everything in nicely. Now you're looking for that exactness, done the same way, at exactly the same time, from the beginning to the end. Okay? That's what I noticed in that first little move there. If you correct it here, it should correct itself throughout the rest of the number. You with me on that? I know how much you have to think about. I've been there. Okay? I know what you got to do. Just each day, try to do a little bit better. Times the number of you out here, and it'll roll up really quick. It's amazing how fast it will happen.
Can we pick it up? Can we pick it up back? Give it to me one more time and keep going.
Now, as you continue on, think about that, the way that you're presenting yourself visually in terms of your horn angles. Is it coming straight to the front sideline, which I think is the correct answer? Make sure you think about that all the way through. That's something you can apply through the entire show, and you need to apply to the entire show. All right, taking it right here. Guard you in too, right? Okay, awesome. All right, here we go.
One, two, ready, go.
Make a big motion. Some are using T-Rex arms, and that's not what we're going to want. We want to see nice, big, full arm motions at the end. There are several musical impact points in this tune that have nice crescendos building up into them. And we need to make sure that we're doing them. That I don't have the measure numbers in front of you, but I think that you know where they are. When you have a crescendo, make sure it's led from the tubas and then move our way on up. Let's go ahead and go on, please. You're doing a better job. You're thinking a little bit more about the body facing. That's good. But I do want you to think about one thing as well. And this you'll hear on relax. I'm sorry, I should have had you come up already, but I have one more thing to tell you. Coming from a judge, the comment that we can hear, that we could say is, "I'm hearing your feet in your sound." Can anyone tell me what I might mean by that? If I was to tell you, "I hear your feet in your sound." Yes, sir. Yeah, it comes from that. That's absolutely correct. And if you're not executing the step correctly, and on top of that, if you're not stopping the upper body motion at the hips, then I'm going to hear that in your sound. And on those opening notes of the show, trumpets are down front, you're a little guilty of that. You've got to be careful of that. There's another spot too in the middle of that opener where you're playing softer, lower sounds. I can hear you hear the pulsing of that. You've got to strike the ground carefully and lightly, but make sure that there's no motion from the hips on up. You ever watch those river dance dancers? They're from the waist down. They're going crazy, and you can put a cup of coffee on their head, and nothing's going to spill out. That's amazing upper body separation, and that's what we've got to do here to make great sounds. All right, let's go on. Good job, Woodley. Musically, sometimes it's the hardest thing to work a little bit more than the marching. And I know you pounded that down, and that's going to improve when everybody's trying to work exactly at the same time. When you've got the opportunity, and this is such a nice arrangement. There are several arrangements of this tune that have been out over the years. This one is more of a Latin feel rather than the original. And they did a nice job with it. But every time there's a little lick in here in the woodwinds where you get this as a tag remark to the statement that the brass has been playing. Every time you get one of those little remarks in there, you have got to project that more. Woodwinds by nature will be lost if you're not behind them and make them project out. It's tougher. The physical characteristic of everything out here
work against woodwind because of the nature of the sound. Okay? We need to take greater, and I've already told Ryan this while you were playing. You've done this so much since you came in at camp. Here's your highest dynamic, and here's your lowest. What you've done as you go through it, you're still attempting to make the dynamic change, but you're not dropping back low enough to make the high really effective. You with me on that? We probably call that gravitating to the middle. Okay? So you've got this much change dynamic. You've got the ability with the instrumentation and experience here to open that back up like it is originally in the music. So that's something that you'll have to go back and clean before you get out in the season to fall. Everybody's been on the run to get everything done, musically and drill-wise. I understand that, okay? And it also happens everywhere that contrast in the dynamics tends to go to center rather than staying pulled apart. Percussion at times, or setting that excitement, especially for you, at times you don't answer what they have set up for you. That's very noticeable. Okay? When they kick something off, you've got to come in behind it, right where they left it, rather than it dropping off and you coming in underneath the intensity level that they set for you. Okay? Breath management is a big deal right now. You're letting the step, I'm going to over-exaggerate. Say I'm a trumpet player, just to pick an instrument. When you're moving, at the softer dynamic levels especially, we're hearing rather than that smooth sound. You got to separate the movement at the waist. You can't let your legs and your feet joggle you up and down and move on that mountain when you get those wavers into a long tone. Okay? That's a combination of a lot of different things that you already know about. Okay? It's there. We got to pull it back apart again. Nice arrangement. But you get those little licks, they're out.
One of the, from just a performance-related issue, something that we're going to have to look at is when you have this 8-note pickup into 42, especially there, 3, 4, da, 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 da. What's happening is some of you are either coming in late or not holding the tie corner up long enough. And over here, we just about fell apart. Did you notice that? It pulled apart for about 2 bars on the side with a low brass coming across. We just got into a different tempo than the rest of the band had. We've got to make sure individually we're counting those parts correctly, that we're allowing those long notes there. There's several spots where crescendos can be more. There's one, you find here, I found a score. There's a trombone build at bar 21 into 22. You may not know exactly where that is right now. Right, that's the one. Yeah, that's got to be a crescendo. That was almost day crescendo. Then we had to hit. Trombones, you've got to build into catapult us basically to bar 22 is what I need for you to do. And that'll make a really nice hit right there. I like at 34 where you had, I think there's a rotational drill, it says so on the score. You're doing a good job with that terrace dynamics. Could we go back to the tune and just do it one more time, please?
I agree.
Okay.
If you're doing nothing, hum these things to yourself. Like the melody, I walk around humming melodies at field shows all the time. However you're thinking about it in your head is exactly what's going to come out the other end of that horn. Okay? You've got to have that electricity, that energy.
Okay, check the alignment of your diagonals before you start. Obviously, you're not going to be able to fix that middle of the show. Make sure they're correct. Get used to just seeing it right all the time. The front to back alignment is easy. The diagonal alignment is not. But that's what a trained eye is going to look for. And the way you line up the diagonal is the base of your neck. All of us have different physical characteristics, to be sure, but the one thing that's a unifying factor is the base of our necks. If that's in line, everything else will be fine. All right. And we were better the time before. We weren't quite together that time.
Don't rush it.
Yeah.
That is a nice start. You guys do a nice job on that. Just don't push it because you'll separate.
Yeah. It was the first 2 times you've done it, the uniform run through and the previous times were really good. So you're entitled to 1, but that's it. All right. Strong players in the tuba and bass saxophone. Very good. Listen back, feel. Lots of air, clarinets. Drive the air. That's it. Hard angles. Relax, good. What's the name of the 2 saxophone players on the 45 and then splitting right there? Okay, you have wonderful direction shifts. You did a great job. I'm watching that as you're going across, and I thought you looked fantastic doing that. There's other good examples, but you caught my eye, and I want you to know that. That was great. Thank you. I love rehearsal 22. That was cooking that time. That's the best you've done it all day. That had great energy, and the articulation is going to make all that happen. That was really good. Dynamics were good too. Trombones, I thought you did a much better job of directing us into 22 that time, so I'm going to give you guys a credit for making that happen. Okay, good. I like the dynamics in that as well. And also when that came back at 42, you notice how it was better that time in the low brass and didn't phase? You guys counted that better. That was nicely done. Can you play the last measure? Can you play that measure, please? Give them a verbal on this one.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, that was like watching paint dry. It's 7 notes, but give it some direction. Give it some energy. Make a statement with it. Don't just play 7 notes. I'll let you make the decision for now with what you're going to do with it musically. Okay, and I'll bet you know what to do with it musically. So show me. Right now I'm just hearing 7 notes. Do it again. Drive.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play.
What note of those 7 is the most important one? The last one. Very good. Now, without anyone blatting it, do it again. Let's get a little bit more from the lower voices without overblowing. I heard a baritone that time, just a little bit too much edge, but maybe a little bit more tuba on that as well. A little bit more trombone as well. Do it again.
Open up the shaping.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play.
Yeah, drive to the end without rushing. Make sure you get to that last note. That gives it a nice sense of impact. Can we start it at 48? And just play it in place, don't go anywhere. Can we start there? Yeah, it's 1, 2, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. That it's a building spot there. Just play it in place. If you're marching guard, just spin if you can. Right there, look to your left and right. Make sure you don't take anyone's horn or teeth away, please. It's happened before. Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play.
Good. It took us about 4 bars to get into it, but once you got going, it was better. Can we do it again now that we know where we're starting? Let's be a little bit more confident right now.
Earl,
Yes, sir.
I'm okay. In the answer to the statement back there in the woodwind, I'm going to give them this time to crank it up a little bit more and see if the overall balance of everything that's going on is better.
Okay, I'll listen for it.
Over it. All of it.
And remember too, this on forte pianos, you don't get nearly as soft as the trumpets do. The higher the instrument, the softer they get. And that's how we keep these things from not getting top heavy. So you go down a little bit on the forte pianos, trumpets go down a whole lot. And then from up here, it sounds awesome. All right, here's 48 again.
One, two, 1, 2, ready, play.
Yeah, it wasn't as tight as before. We really phased 3 before the end on the low brass solely. Make sure you're articulating that articulate really short there, and that'll help a lot. Can we do that?
Yeah, Earl, it seems a little unsure.
Oh, it was very, like a big old question mark up here. All right, let's try that again.
Low range clarinet, wah, on the bottom. You got to push that. Okay?
One, two, 1, 2, ready, play.
Well, the last measure was a lot better. Was maybe the strongest I've heard. 3 before the end, still not quite tight in the low brass. Okay, absolutely. Drumline, make sure we're real solid with our pulse there as well. They're down here, they're going to be counting on you big time.
We are still not getting enough of the inner voice to balance against the naturally bigger sound.
Especially,
Yes, indeed. Everybody in those sections has got to push more air.
especially if you're a second or a third part. That's real important. That thickens that sound up really nicely there when that happens. Okay. Yep.
One, two, 1, 2, ready, play.
That was your best one so far. That was solid up here. That was solid all the way. Good job, low brass, and the articulation. When you tongue things short, good things happen. That was nice. Absolutely. They've earned that. Everyone needs to be counting and subdividing. Slow tempos here are really hard to do.
Now, let me ask, well, I consider
Let's see. I think there's a perfectly valid reason to do it, and that is going backwards. Sometimes they make some. I remember watching it the first time, watching some folks taking some pretty big steps going backwards, and it's really hard to play that way. There may be times you may want to have them march the 8 notes for better musical execution. We'll take a look. Don't rush.
Don't equate song with how much air you use. It is a characteristic of young developing instrumentalists to pull back from or out of their instruments at lower dynamic levels. Somebody proved to me that the size of the instrument on the inside changes as the dynamic changes. And I will buy the fact that dynamics have an effect on how much air you use.
Think fortissimo air with piano sound. And this is too where you've got to make sure that there's no upper body motion. Otherwise I'm going to hear that in hear the beat in your sound. Okay? Note, before it, let me look at the square here. We hear da 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 da. There's 3 quarter notes before the last hold. Don't take a breath after that. I heard da 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 da, and that's just not a good breath. I know that you're not written in a really good register in the trombones right there. We've got to connect that, not take a breath there. Okay.
Everybody to think about this. You have to take a picture in your head of what you're doing with your airway. There's so much room for fullness here. You're playing with the back of your throat, known as the oral cavity, like this. You're closing it. Like you've got a golf ball in your trachea. At all those dynamic levels, people out there. You've got to find it with your numbers and your section combined into the balance. Are you with me on that? You've got to keep the back of your throat open. Okay? You're letting range and all your squeezing and closing in here. You just don't get a big, buttery, sonorous sound when you do that. I can hear closing. I actually can. Can we run some of it again?
I think that would be great. And before you go back, you're in your pods and you're parked there for a while. You step out, but then you have a step forward where the music gets real big. You know what I'm talking about there? Okay, that's a powerful, powerful moment. Yeah, that's huge. And the music needs to portray that. You step forward, I want you to make sure that you sell that musically what you're doing visually. I love the effect. It didn't quite come across like we would like it to. End of the beginning of the tune? Okay.
That's why you sell your ability to play beauty. Okay? This is beauty right here. And everything that goes along with it to make it beautiful.
Can I get them to double time marching because they don't march hardly at all.
Sure. Yeah, sure, absolutely. March the 8th notes, guys. Raspy trombones on that end. I understand. You know, since the arranger's probably not going to be at the next game, you could even look at taking that up the octave and just see if you like it. It will certainly be easier to perform. As Ryan and you talked about single timing versus double timing, we had a lot more release issues musically when we were double timing than we had when we were marching the quarter note before.
Plus, you can feel the waver and hear the waver in the long tone. Wah, 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 rather than dee-dee-da.
Yeah. There's a case to be made either way, but the music performed better when they were marching the quarter note, just based on what I heard now. And tomorrow it could be totally different, but based on now, you know. All right. Yes, absolutely.
antibiotics in here, you've got to sell. With that, it's got to be, whoa! You got to move the air big. You got to match it. They're setting it up for you, and you're coming in considerably lower. Like Mr. Schaefer said, don't get raspy, don't overblow it. Everybody just put that much more air behind what you're doing, multiplied by the number of you out here, and it will be, wow.
Drums at measure 6. I haven't been ignoring you either, but you haven't given me a lot to talk about until right, which is a good thing to write down. You're really loud at measure 6 on the trombone melody. If I'm a judge, and I may or may not be one next week in this category, you need to make sure that you don't overbalance the melody. That's the first time you've overplayed anything today, which I applaud you for. That's great. But at measure 6 here, you've got to take it down about 10% because you were too loud there. Okay.
Better start, please.
Okay. last three notes, please? Play the last three notes. Major, give me a verbal on this one. Dot, dot, dot. Yeah, it's the end of the show. Show me something here. Go.
2,
Last 3 notes.
play.
Good. Make the last one the most important one. It's the end of the show. You don't want to end it. You got to end it strong. Don't end it wimpily. End it strong. Do it again. Ginger. Lots of air.
1, 2, 1.
Listen down to the tubas.
Play.
Yeah. Make sure we don't rush that last one. Do that one more time, please.
1, 2, 1, 2. Ready, play.
Good. And a little bit more horn snap down at the end instead of just dropping them. See if you can be more like digital. You know, it's here and then it's here, and you don't even see the difference. This is analog. This is digital. Here, here. Give me more digital horns down, please. One more time. Last 3 notes. Okay. Yeah, put a little attitude on these last 3 notes. It's the last thing we'll hear from you in the show. Yep.
1, 2, 1, 2. Ready, play.
Good. Make sure you don't have a tuba hangover. Relax.
Okay, one more run and Roger. Okay. One more, no, this song. One more run and this song. Get up.
Yeah, you gotta have attitude. That kid, stop. You gotta drive it.
Horn angle, square to the front sideline. Underneath the trombone. Drums. On the part of this, when the winds are all the way down there and you're coming across, you're playing really well, but you're going to need to turn that one down volume-wise just a little bit because it's just where they're placed. Okay? And when they're centered like this, your balance is great. You do really well. Now, wind players, You're going to, at the very end, we're doing these, whatever the rhythm is when you're going across the field there, that's starting to fall off musically. And the judge is going to criticize the drums for being too loud, but they're not being too loud. They're doing fine. We're just, probably because we're getting tired. You've done a lot of hard playing today, and so that's probably it. But you've got to make sure that you're driving those punch notes across. Don't let it fall off there.
It'll get easier with time.
Yes, it will.
Your head is in it. It's all about you have your head in it. Okay? That's what it's all about. You've got the ability to do anything you want to do out here. All the color looks great.
Oh, yeah.
The flags do a super energetic job there.
Yeah, fantastic. I told the guard already I wasn't ignoring them. They're doing a great job. All right. Hey, guys, you know that this is the largest team at Monacan High School. It's also probably the smartest team as well. You know, band kids are brilliant. That's why this is my 39th year with bands, and I think band kids are the best. You guys take harder schedules than most anybody else in the building. I don't need to tell you that. You all know that already. You're involved in multiple things, and you guys, and then you're still out here in half uniform marching around for 2 hours. It's amazing. Band kids are amazing what you do, and I just appreciate you allowing us to be here today. Thank you for your courtesy. You've been more than respectful, and that's a real credit to your parents. You need to go home and thank them too, because they obviously did a real good job with you. And I mean, you've been absolutely a dream to rehearse, and thank you for just listening to us all the way through, and I appreciate that very much. I'll see you several times this season, and I look forward to watching you getting better and better, and I think you're going to have a fantastic season. You're off to a great start. A lot of little things to do, though, as you start watching your videos. Start looking for these things we talked about. Little parts of drill forms are a little wonky. Spacing that's not quite the same. You've got it roughed in real well, but it's the next level that's going to make all the difference.
Ditto.
Ditto, all right. A man, a few words. All right. No one's ever said that about me. But anyway, guys, it was a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys.
Is this mine?